Hello, and welcome to Control City Freak. Today, we are talking about Todd ranking the state DOTs, Midwest Edition. I will give the usual disclaimer. I am in no way ranking these states, or even the quality of their highways, or the state DOTs overall. I am simply ranking them based on signage and how they sign control cities. Okay, let's take a look at our map of the states. I know Nebraska, South Dakota, and North Dakota are kind of Midwest, but we have only done 3 miles of Nebraska so far, and we haven't done much of North Dakota or South Dakota either, so those will all be part of the Northwest. You're watching Control City Freak. This is the YouTube channel where we talk about interstate highways and the places that they're signed to go to. If you dig this kind of content, go ahead and smash that like button. Yeah. If you really dig it, why not subscribe? Ring the bell, do all the stuff. Okay, the first ranked state we're going to talk about is Indiana. If you've been watching recent episodes, this should come as no surprise. But we see here 80 and 90 on I-75. We don't get a pull-through sign, which I don't like, but the control cities, Chicago, Toledo, work just fine. Here on I-65 northbound, we have kind of the weird ending of it, so we have 265 toll road, we've got 80-94 Chicago, and then we've got 80-94 east for Toledo and Detroit. Those are all fitting, and as I said, we're on 65 north toll road. Here's what it looks like from the Indiana toll road when it's meeting I-65. And we've got this nice 90 east, 280 and 94 because you are meeting them at the very next exit on the toll road, Toledo, Ohio. I wouldn't mind seeing Detroit in that sign too, but Toledo is where the Indiana toll road 90 carriageway is actually going. Here on I-65 North, it's a little weird because we don't get Toledo and Chicago. Instead, we get Illinois and Ohio for whatever reason, so they're throwing a bit of a monkey wrench in there. Really, the only problem with Indiana signage is the lack thereof sometimes. Here on North 69 meeting 469, I really do think that 69 North here should be signed for Fort Wayne, and 469 should be signed for Toledo because of its intersection with US 24, and it's the fastest way to Toledo from this point, and it's basically all freeway or expressway. Southbound, it's a similar situation, but I actually think unsigning it southbound does kind of make sense. Here we have a rare instance of 465 being signed, but that is because they are signing at 474. I will say it's a little weird in Indianapolis because 70 keeps switching between Columbus and Dayton, although from what I hear it will all be Dayton once all of the construction is finished. And as I noted, they often don't sign any control city on 465, so that again is kind of my only beef with Indiana. This is done pretty well, 69 for Evansville and Henderson, Kentucky, since that's where we will be meeting on the other side of the bridge. This is a little weird, but this again is a work in progress. There will eventually be control cities on I-69 in southern Indiana. Number 2, Michigan. Honestly, I've gone back and forth between a few number 2s. A lot of the order here could be different, and in fact, I'm sure I'll feel differently by tomorrow. So here we have 94-69. I'm on record as saying I think this should be Toronto, and I still do believe that. Absolutely not Sarnia, because most people in America don't know Sarnia. And London, well, it's that other London that kind of gets all the press. So yeah, Toronto would be awesome here. Detroit Flint is fine. I'd be okay with just Detroit, but having Flint on there for I-69 is good too. Pretty good signage here. It's kind of weird that 69 is east-west for a little while, but it does go at a due east-west route, and it changes at the I-96 junction, so that works out pretty well. This one I thought was a little weird because they obviously have room to write out all of Grand Rapids on this sign. A lot of commenters complained about this, 275 for Flint, and said maybe 275 should be signed for Novi. I'm fine with Flint. It's the fastest way from here to Flint. Lansing would work as well, but 3-digit interstates are signed for control cities that they don't reach, but that other 2-digit interstates reach all the time. Nothing unusual here. St. Ignace is definitely a bit of a weird choice, but I get the Upper Peninsula trying to do an Upper Peninsula thing here, so I don't hate it. This one's a little weird though. 75 South Mackinac Bridge. We are 1 mile north of the Mackinac Bridge at this point. I'm fairly certain that every resident of St. Ignace would know exactly where the Mackinac Bridge is, so they don't need a sign. This should be South Detroit. And also, I don't really like signing Saginaw from so far away. I think it should be Detroit as soon as you cross the Mackinac Bridge, if not from the beginning. I did complain about this in the North 75 video, but I've made my peace with it. I think North Mackinac Bridge is a fine control city and a unique Michigan thing, so I'm down with this one. Alright, number 3, Ohio, which again I've ranked everywhere from like 2 to 6, so that could change. This I don't like at all. Perrysburg getting billing over Ohio Turnpike. No, should have the Ohio Turnpike control cities on there instead, and why not a full gantry instead of just a side one? Marietta is an unbelievably bad choice. Super provincial, no reason to do this at all, and I don't care that it's the oldest city in Ohio. Long distance traffic doesn't know that, and they're not going off to the one exit in Marietta, so this should be Charleston, West Virginia. Going the other way, they do sign Cleveland all the way from Marietta, so I like that. That's pretty cool, signing your big city. Although on 77 in Canton, and only in Canton, they suddenly switch to Akron, so Akron becomes the control city for about 20 miles, and then it goes back to Cleveland. And really, that's not horrible either. Akron's a fairly sizable city. I understand signing it from someplace 20 miles away, especially someplace like Canton, but not signing it from across the state. Barberton, I've got no use for this one. Signing a suburb on a 2-digit interstate is never a good move. And Lodi, definitely not. No. Here in Columbus, we get the Dayton and Cleveland Wheeling signs, which are all good. Also kind of interesting that Wheeling is the only out-of-state city that Ohio signs for any distance. All of the other out-of-state cities, they're only signing for a few miles because I guess Ohio has a lot of big cities, you know, around its perimeter anyway, so generally it works. I do like that in downtown Cincinnati we get Louisville-Lexington always for 7175 instead of Covington or Kentucky or something like that. Louisville-Lexington, way to go. However, I am totally fine with signing Kentucky on 275. I think that's a good move, and I'd like to see more on 275, more of this kind of thing. And this is what kept Ohio relatively high. This is obviously the best sign in Ohio, one of the best signs in America. I love this one. 80 East New York City. Bam. If only Pennsylvania could keep it up too. Number 4, Illinois. You might be surprised to see them this high. We've definitely had a lot of fun with IDOT in this channel so far. Illinois, though, does a pretty good job major junctions, so that's why it's as high as it is. Here we get 55 South in St. Louis. St. Louis is really the only significant city that's signed from Chicago. Most everything else is states. Yes, I know, Rockford and Aurora, but St. Louis is the only big city. This is abysmal. 72 Jacksonville. Never should have been this way. I think Kansas City is the move, but I could, you know, sleep at night if it was Quincy. But Jacksonville, no. I like the way they do this 55 North Chicago Springfield, so have a secondary right there on the overhead when it is your state capital, but still understand that Chicago is the main game and keep it as the primary. This, on the other hand, this is horrible. This Joliet sign, I talked at length about this. No. Signing suburbs right before the city? No, no, no. And here we have in the Quad Cities area, 80 West Davenport. We get 74 for Moline and Rock Island. Port Bettendorf left off. Illinois is mostly known for this kind of thing, the weird interchange control cities that are always signed for the secondary. And we get some pretty ridiculous secondaries like Mount Vernon. East St. Louis is maybe the dumbest one of all. Champaign and Terre Haute aren't so bad, although Terre Haute is dumb because Indiana doesn't sign it, so why would Illinois? And of course, the worst one in Illinois, signing 24 West for Interstate 57. Just put St. Louis on it, come on. Alright, number 5, Iowa. This is one that could move up or down quite a bit once I get to the I-80 video. 80 gets an Omaha, which I like because it's going to be crossing the bridge, but it doesn't get it all the way. We do have a lot of Council Bluffs action here. This sign's pretty awesome, and it is also pretty new. If I looked back in Street View, it would say Council Bluffs instead, but this South Kansas City is cool. I do like this one, North 29, East 680, Sioux City, and Des Moines. Des Moines being signed on I-29 signed briefly because of the 880 intersection. 680 actually doesn't even exist, so they could get rid of that shield, but it did exist for a long time. Eastbound, I mean, not westbound. Lots of focus on Council Bluffs, but as long as they have Omaha on there, it's okay. Although, a lot of the times, Iowa does not have Omaha on there. We get just 29 South Council Bluffs, and I don't care for that. They do sign 29 for Kansas City, though, so I do give Iowa credit for that. Here in Des Moines, we get another West Council Bluffs. No, that should be Omaha. And Davenport, Minneapolis. Probably should go ahead and go with Chicago for 80, but I understand why they would do Davenport. Quad cities, I guess, are worth signing. And of course, Iowa is going to sign the largest Iowa one. And here's just another look at the same interchange in Des Moines. Same kind of stuff we talked about. And a final look at those. I don't have many Iowa signs yet. All right, number 6, Wisconsin. Let's start in Green Bay, where I really feel like Lambeau Field should be signed a lot better than it is. It should be signed somewhere on both 41 and 43, but they don't really sign it that much. Here we are on 41 North Marinette. I don't know why they have the 41 North shield there, because 41 ends right at this interchange. We get 41 South Appleton. I like that. That's okay. That's to differentiate it from 43, because 43 and 41 are both going to Milwaukee, but 43 is a little faster. Here in the Appleton area, we've got North 41 Green Bay, so that's well done. On I-39, I feel like this is pretty bad at junctions that we get a Stevens Point south from here. 39 up in central and northern Wisconsin should always be signed South Madison, in my opinion. We do get a lot of Wisconsin Dells. That could be good, could be bad. It's a big tourist draw for Chicago and Milwaukee people in the summer, and 90 and 94 both go there, so that works. We always get this WIS Dells abbreviation. I like 39 being signed for Chicago, despite not going to Chicago, because 90 does. Here we are in Milwaukee. We've got Madison and Fond du Lac, and we've got that Fond du Lac on there to differentiate 41 from 43, just like we saw before. Pretty good signage here at the 43, 94, 794 split, the Marquette interchange, I believe. And I do like this, 41 and 894, two roads that do not go to Chicago, both signed for Chicago, and I totally agree with that. It is the correct one. Gotta say though, Wisconsin lost a lot of points on their new signage for Janesville. I feel like this is a really bad idea. They don't need something between Beloit and Madison. It's not a very big distance, and from the border to Janesville is something like 12 miles. So no need for that at all. Alright, number 7, my home state of Kansas. Kansas does a couple of things a little weird. One, in the Kansas City area and other areas, we in Kansas sometimes sign control cities before we even get to the one at hand. So we get 70 East St. Louis well before we even make it into Kansas City. So I don't like that. Or sometimes we get no information at all, like this 670 and 70 splits. We get no control cities. I think you should have something here like 670 South Loop, 70 North Loop, or 670 St. Louis, 70 for 35 and 29. Here's the East Topeka interchange, and we get 470 to 335, 70 West Salina. I feel like with a sign that big, they probably have room to put Denver on there too. Here in Salina, we get South 135 Wichita, which is good. We can also see in the distance 70 West Hayes, which could be okay, but also isn't the best. I like that on the Turnpike, you generally always get two control cities, and they generally make sense. So we get Wichita, Oklahoma City for south, Topeka, Kansas City for north, good on both. This one's a little weird. I feel like it should say Wichita, follow 135, 235, not South Wichita. Putting Wichita on 35 is just trying to get more toll money out of people, because everybody going to Wichita is getting on 135 or 235. This one's fun because we have the same primary control city on both roads, Kansas City, but we do have secondaries to differentiate them, so I think that's a good job there. I like this one, good old Denver via 135 north, so they'll mention Denver in Wichita, but they won't mention it in Topeka. Kansas has a weird relationship with Denver in mentioning it. Maybe it's all the crimes John Elway committed against the Chiefs. We've got West 70 Denver here in Hayes, which it absolutely should be. But here's the main reason Kansas is ranked down as far as it is. We've got Lyman. Lyman. We're the only state that's not Colorado that signs Lyman. Why? Hopefully we get rid of that soon. All right, number 8, Minnesota. We've not spent a lot of time in Minnesota yet in this channel, but what I've seen so far is not great. First off, going north on 35, we get no Control City for 35, and 90 East La Crosse is kind of dumb. I don't know, it should probably be Madison. And then going south on 35 at the same intersection, it's exactly the same. No Control City for 35, and still the La Crosse thing. And going south, Madison makes even more sense. 35W, 35E split, that works out all right. But here's a big reason Minnesota is so far down, is in Minneapolis, we just don't get Control Cities really at all. In Minneapolis and St. Paul downtown. This is in St. Paul, and no Control Cities. We do get Duluth once we get to the suburbs, but in the cities, we don't actually get anything. And then going through Minneapolis, 35W, no Control City. 94, Control City's 11th Avenue. What? And once we do get a Control City, it is Albert Lee, which is an abysmal choice. Yes, I know they meet I-90, but nobody's going to Albert Lee, and I don't feel like that many people are taking a beeline to do a perpendicular turn onto I-90 from here. I feel like they're going to take some different way. Alright, then we do get 35 St. Paul, Minneapolis, going northbound. I think that's pretty well done. 535 Wisconsin's a little weird. Could probably go with just Superior, because that's the name of the city that's right across the river here. And number 9, I'm sure no surprise to anybody, good old MoDOT. I will exempt St. Louis from these complaints. They do a really good job in St. Louis. We've got West 44, South 55, Tulsa, Memphis. 70 to Illinois is really good. Going the other way, 44 east to 70 west, Kansas City is great. And I love that they give you this 44 east ends and continue on 70. That's awesome. Joplin, sign in Kansas City. I said before I think it should be Springfield, and I stand by that. And then when we get to the exit to Springfield, the closest way, we get no Springfield signage whatsoever, and no overhead sign, nothing. We just get 7 South Clinton. Fail. No fan of all the St. Joseph signage. That's no good. It should be 29 Omaha. And once we're beyond St. Joseph, we don't even get Omaha. We just get 29 Council Bluffs. So Missouri is more religious about signing Council Bluffs than Iowa is. And though Iowa was signing Kansas City on 29 South, once we're in Missouri, St. Joseph becomes the bottom line, which is ridiculous. Kansas City is so much bigger. This will come as a surprise to absolutely nobody who watches this channel. Rolla. No need for that at all. If you want to go in-state, Springfield, or even Joplin, Rolla. And 55 is no better once it gets onto the outskirts of St. Louis. This one always bummed me out too. You have 357 miles of I-57 signing Memphis southbound, and then Missouri has to ruin it 24 miles before the end and make Sikeston the Control City. No. Alright. That's it for Todd Ranks the State DOTs Midwest Edition. Let's take a look at the tier chart. So what I've got here, S, Indiana, A, Michigan, I think it does pretty good, B, Ohio, kind of fair to middling, and there's a very crowded C bracket this time. Illinois, Iowa, Wisconsin, Kansas, Minnesota, and I think Missouri is the only one that really stands out for going above and beyond in the badness level, although it's still not quite to New Mexico or Pennsylvania or North Carolina. Alright, that wraps up this episode of Todd Ranks the State DOTs, and we'll be back with more I-77 next week. Should be awesome. Thanks so much. My name is Todd, and keep on trucking.